Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the Straight to the Apex podcast. It's the Formula One podcast. The guys are all here, talking Formula One. I believe it's the end of the season. So, not sure, but this could be the last Formula One podcast for a little while. Make sure you are tuned in for future Formula One podcasts, and you can do this by clicking the subscribe button. Like, share, subscribe, comment, drop reviews, share the podcast around. It's a great way to build that fan base for these guys, so please do share the podcast around. Anyway, enough from me. Let's hear from these guys. Let's get started. Here we go. This is CookieCast, Straight to the Apex.
Good evening, afternoon, or morning, depending on when and where you're listening. This is Straight to the Apex, episode 25. Welcome. My name is T-Dog, and I am joined by Mark.
Hello.
And James.
Hiya.
Who does sound a little bit under the weather.
Crawled off his deathbed, and crawled off his deathbed, that kid. They put a podcast
I think under the
tonight.
weather is a bit of a soft way of saying feels like fucking shit.
I mean, I hope your wife is looking after you.
Yeah, she just come back with honey and lemon, stood a fed, so I'm done. And then she gave me a bowl of ice cream to make me feel a bit better.
James, I salute you, sir. Salute you, sir.
She's a good one. She's a keeper. Wow.
It's a trip.
Wow.
I'm not falling for it because I know what's going to happen. She'll get it next, and she'll be expecting the exact same fucking treatment.
It'll be your fault. It'll be your fault.
Oh, yeah, and I'll be that as well. Even though I've already said I'll sleep in the spare room tonight. Oh, well, it's no point. I'll probably already have it anyway. You might as well sleep in the same bed as me. Okay.
So it's already your fault.
You did this to me.
It's a trap. Anyway, Abu Dhabi. What a finale. A little bit less controversial compared to last year. Max is the world champion. It was a good finish for Ferrari. Heartbreak for Hamilton. Any initial thoughts? James?
On the night, I thought boring. In all honesty. I fell asleep. Granted, I didn't watch it live. We was out. We put it on after we put Little into bed. So we had it on from about 7:30. I fell asleep halfway through. And when I woke up, buddy Verstappen was just driving by the fireworks.
Well, falling asleep halfway through GP is, honestly, you've got to try it. And it's amazing, isn't it? You kind of skip the bullshit and then wake up when it's the main event at the end. So.
I mean, I have watched it again. I watched the last 20 laps just to catch up and make sure I knew what I was talking about. I'm going to say it's better than falling asleep 4 laps in like you did in Australia.
Yeah, I'm notorious for it. I need to work on that for next season.
Yeah, definitely. But no, boring.
Just boring. Mark, what did you think?
Obviously, not as entertaining as last year. But it was all right. It was everything was done, wasn't it? There was nothing to kind of play for. Normally, the drivers kind of let loose and go for it, and they didn't really do that this year.
No. I think it was.
You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
It's probably a case of because of last year's race, whatever happened, we said it about the season and last season. The two, you can't compare the two in any way. And yeah, I suppose really you can't compare Abu Dhabi last year to this year. There was a lot of repetitions from last season, like Hamilton and Perez and stuff like that. But
that was good.
Yeah,
Payback is a bitch. That was good.
Well, I watched that again today, and I just said to Charlie, I said, honest to God, it's almost like the mirror opposite of what happened last year. Because obviously, last year Hamilton was going for it. He overtook Perez in the first DRS spot, and then in the second DRS spot, Perez got it back with shit tyres.
Yep.
And that's exactly what happened this year, but with the drivers switched around.
Yep. I still don't think Perez had well, no, I think Perez would have caught Leclerc, but I don't think he'd have caught him as he certainly wouldn't have caught him as quick as Red Bull thought, because it was like, oh, you'll get him. And like you say, even Hamilton holding him up slowed him down a little bit. But yeah, I just laughed when it happened because I thought,
Yeah, well, I didn't think he was ever going to pass him, really. And as the race went on, it was clearer and clearer he wasn't going to pass him. I thought it was just too far back. That was the only real end to the race, wasn't it?
I'm going to ask you something. I was going to wait until we really get into the race in a bit, but we're already on the subject now. And I only thought of it about half an hour ago, and I just said it to Charlie. I just want your thoughts now. Because there is going to be people out there that's probably thinking this anyway. But was there a little bit of tactic in there from Mercedes to hold Perez up after what had happened last week with Verstappen?
No. I think no, because the Mercedes were dwindling anyway, and it all went to shit in the end. I don't think they were quick enough. I maybe think, in my opinion, that you're overthinking it slightly. That's what my opinion is. I think you're just reminiscing maybe from last year and over.
I don't think it is, but I did have that little bit of a thought. And whenever you have that little bit of a thought, that generally means that there's going to be people out there that believe that.
Maybe. I mean, if you're listening to the podcast and you think, comment.
Yeah, let us know.
Comment. Yeah. Let us know.
That kind of get in Perez's head, so he's then sitting there thinking, you know what, Max, if you'd have fucking helped me last week, like he was meant to, this could have been a different story. It wouldn't have made much difference, but planting that little seed of doubt, you know, if Perez is a little bit more fed up, is he going to make it harder for Verstappen next year? It's absolutely fucking clutching, but you know for a fact there's going to be people out there that will be thinking that.
I didn't even think of that, James, what you said. And I agree with you. I don't think Mark did kind of do that on purpose. Yeah. However, I do agree with what you've just said in the second bit of your question/statement. Perez must have been stuck behind Hamilton thinking, if only Max had let me fucking buy like I promised last week, it would have done me, it'd been in a better position this week. But we'll obviously talk about it in qualifying and the race. I don't think Max did Perez any favours in either session this weekend, even though he said he was going to.
Yeah.
He didn't help him in qualifying. He could have done what Perez did kind of last year, slowed right down, held Leclerc up, and brought Leclerc into Perez's hands like Perez did to Hamilton, bringing him into Max's clutches last year. That's what I'd be saying as Perez, because Max was just toddling off up front going, well, I'm fucking faster than a lot of you, so see you later, mate.
Yeah, he was something like 19 seconds faster, wasn't he? 19 seconds ahead.
And he kept saying on the radio, didn't he? Oh, how's Perez doing? Like you actually care.
Give a fuck. Yeah, I thought that.
Like towards the end, he had that like 19-second lead. He was about 8 seconds in front of Leclerc. And then he goes, my tyres are fine. Tell Perez his will last, so tell him just to go full send. I was like, oh, yeah, well played. All he said in his head, like, oh, I've done my bit, you know. I told him his tyres will be all right.
I did like that Sky were pressing for an answer from Max, Christian, Sergio Perez, and none of them were giving it away. It's all internal. They kept putting this line out that it was all sorted. I honestly don't think, and I'll be interested in what you guys think, I don't think, A, we've heard the last of it. B, we've seen the last of it, or C, I don't think anything was sorted behind closed doors. Because in one interview, Perez said, we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think, well, there's a lot of points there, bloody hell. They're all bullshitting to save face.
And
Nobody's no, they can't say anything about it because I think something has happened in this season that they can't talk about. And usually when that happens is they've broke a rule or they've done something they shouldn't have done, or somebody has done something they shouldn't have done against the rules of the FIA and F1, so they can't talk about it. And it's just pandemonium at Red Bull, and they are trying to save face. To come to your last point, I think that sets a very sad and interesting tone for next season, because I think they're not going to trust each other. I don't think they're going to, and it's going to be interesting to watch. Really, really interesting to watch. It's like it's a nice like shadow into the next season or next episode, and I love it for the drama. It's an ace, especially when I'm a Red Bull hater as well. I fucking love it when it's negative and they're on the downer. But yeah, it is what it is. Max went into the distance. Doesn't give a fuck. He showed his true colours. We could say that till the cows come home. But he's 15 wins this season, puts him third all time, most successful season. Is he a true champion this season?
Yeah.
Would you say he's a true champion?
Oh, he's been a class above everybody this year.
Mm-hmm. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next year and if others can catch up. Anything more to say on that?
No.
He's a dick.
I think we've done it. I think we've done that to the death.
Yeah, I do. I agree. Next year is going to be. If I was Sergio Perez in his camp, I don't think I'd. Oh, I didn't hear that radio message. I didn't that. And like say that sets the tone for a team that's going to be infighting.
Yeah.
So they're going to have the quickest car next year. No shadow of doubt. Merc aren't going to catch up that much. Ferrari aren't going to catch up that much. They'll lose the championship themselves next year.
Yeah. And I think we're going to do another separate episode about predictions and what we think next year.
Yep.
And I'm going to say it right now. I will piss my pants, not shit my pants, piss my pants if they collide and crash out together next season. Oh, I would fucking love it. There you go.
All right, Keegan, calm down. Kevin Keegan's in the house. I will love it.
They'll go 1-2 next year now.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on.
Okay.
Goodbye, Seb Vettel. Danke, Seb. He looked exhausted at the end because I think every single person in Abu Dhabi and F1 wanted a picture, wanted a conversation. He was the driver of the day. I can't tell you how many montages I've seen, how many pictures of a meal I've seen. He even went for a run before.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
on the weekend. So, will he be back? Will he come back? That's what I've been dying to ask you guys. Will he come back, or do you think this is it?
This is it. He won't come back.
Really?
Not driving anyway. If he has anything at all to do with it, it'll be in the back room.
Really?
Yeah, because Seb is built differently to every other driver on that grid. Whereas Alonso retired and then come back,
Don't think an Audi team with a lot of money will come.
No, because his goals have changed. He's always been a family man. He's always been private. We've said this plenty of times. He's not interested in the money. He's had a great career. And I honestly think he will take a step back now. We'll probably see him drive as a guest in a series somewhere. But as Formula One goes, I think he's done driving. He'll probably be back on the grid, like James said, in the background, probably promoting I don't know, biofuel or something, but I don't think we'll ever see him in a Formula One car driving again.
Yeah. Probably a little bit like Jenson Button, he'll show up in like the Austrian GP or something like that. But I don't think we'll see him drive again.
No,
There'll be more guest spots.
I mean, the way I watched it on Sky Sports in the UK, and it was literally every other theme. Like they'd talk about something, and then it'd be back to Seb. They'd talk about something else, then they'd talk to Seb's dad. Then they'd maybe touch on something else. Then it was back on a montage about Seb.
But he deserves it. I think he deserves it because I think, honestly, he took that mantle that Michael Schumacher and Ayrton Senna had, and prestigious drivers, and he's one of them. Because love him or hate him, when he was at Red Bull, he was a class act. And I think as he's matured, he's got a more likeable person, and he deserved everything that weekend was about. Definitely.
True. I remember I hated him. Not on the level of Verstappen, but I hated him.
I hated him as much as Verstappen.
And now it feels strange. Like, have I matured? Have I grown up slightly? The way that
Charlie,
I look at him now.
When I was putting this background up, which is Seb at Abu Dhabi, and Charlie went, "Oh, what's the background?" And I told her, and she went, "Oh, you're like Sebastian Vettel now." And I said, "Well, when you think about it, he's done a lot, especially in the last 2 seasons as well."
The way he spoke about the incident with Hamilton just shows what a man he is. Like in that race where, he just said it could have gone 2 ways. It could have. I was angry. I was out of line. And me and Lewis obviously knew each other, and he said that actually made our friendship stronger. And to see them two best mates now when that happened, it shows what type of person he is.
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Yeah,
but even his speech after the race, when it was Jenson Button wanted to do any interviews, the post-race interviews with, the top 3, and obviously Seb was there as well, and they had a quick chat with Seb. And even his interview was so fucking humble. It was unreal. It was just like, maybe driving around in circles isn't for everyone, and it's not the most entertaining thing. But if we get the opportunity to get our message out there, doing it and stuff like that, then that's great. You won't say, I'm a 4-time champion, blah 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 blah, and all this kind of stuff. It was just
that's true.
My time's. This is my time. I'm happy. I think we can do this, that, and the other. It was almost like Rocky IV. After he's just beating up Dolph Lundgren, and he's talking to all the Russians, going, "Hey, we should all be at peace. It's just peaceful, man," and all that kind of stuff. It was like that. Apart from you could actually understand everything that he said.
Yeah.
And what on a flip note of that, I also think what Hamilton did, and the fact that every single driver on the grid turned up, shows you how much. Seb was like the leader of the Drivers' Association. He was big at the front of safety and the halo. And I think the fact that they got all them drivers together, even Max, Alonso, Ocon, and Lewis paid, but then he probably is the highest paid driver out of a lot of them. But the fact that they all turned up and then they've had a couple of nights out as well just shows you that actually Vettel is so he's worth it, because I think he's a totally different Seb to that arrogant little prick when he was first at Red Bull.
Yeah.
You know what?
Again, very true. Very true.
He kind of reminds me of Niki Lauda.
Yeah, he does. That's a great shout.
When it came to the health and safety and stuff like that, saying, you've got to be looking out for the well-being of the drivers back then, when he was racing the likes of James Hunt and everything.
And you could see Seb doing what Nicky did and said, "Well, I'm not racing in that rain," because Formula One means everything to him, but not at the cost of his life, because he's got more than Formula One. And like I say, people respect Nicky for that. And Nicky was, an outspoken voice. I think Seb is that is a really good shout. Seb is very much Nicky Lauda figure that loved in the paddock, but he puts the drivers first and is all about the safety and entertainment of the sport. Yeah,
we're going to miss him. I think he'll go down as definitely one of the pillars of the 21st century F1. Definitely. Right, enough of him. Ricciardo, finally know where that son of a bitch is going. And he's not going to work for the McLaren marketing team. He's going to work for the Red Bull marketing team instead as a third driver.
Yep.
Feelings, thoughts on that? Mark?
Red Bull
exactly. Big sigh straight away.
Red Bull have just put in their insurance policy for next season when Perez and Verstappen crash. That's my honest gut feeling.
Wow.
They've thought, because if Perez steps out of line, sack him, Daniel straight in the car because the know he'll tow the line.
It's pretty much what I would do as well. But more that kind of, they've brought him in as the mediator. You know what I mean? Just that guy that will get in between Max and Perez.
Yeah.
They're both competitive. They're both better drivers than Ricciardo, I have to say. Particularly, But yeah, if things start getting a bit fiery off the track between them, he's just got that attitude and personality where he'll cool them off.
I mean, he's squeaky clean, isn't he? He'll definitely show Red Bull in a really good light. He's lovable. He's a big advert of F1.
After the season he's had, struggling, his stock's never been lower. So if Perez was to stick it to Max and Red Bull said, right, bye-bye, Sergio, Daniel would step in and not be ruthless and fight. He'd probably say, look, hey, I'm getting a chance in a top car here. I will just play the teammate what Red Bull need and build that confidence back up. And I don't blame Daniel Ricciardo for that at all. He's actually positioned himself really well.
I don't know. I'm a bit sick of it, to be honest, but you already know that. And if you listen to previous episodes, you'll know my feelings exactly.
Is it because he's drove a McLaren and you hate McLaren that much? Even though you were in McLaren orange?
I know, I thought that straight away. What a fucking idiot. But anyway, for me, the thing that pisses me off is he's supposed to be a good driver, but he's been at McLaren for how long now? And he's had moments when he's shown how good he is. But then look at the other moments. Jesus Christ, I think he's had more worse moments than he's had good moments. And you can't keep saying, and this is what pisses me off, you can't keep saying, oh, it's the car. Oh, the car, just don't get the car, don't understand the car. It's like,
I think when you think about performance for him, the only one that anyone can ever think of is that race at Monaco where he just limped all the way and kept pole. That's the only real big thing I can ever think of.
He won Monza at McLaren. He's got podiums at McLaren. I do think that I disagree. I still think that Daniel Ricciardo is a bloody good driver, and I think that he's been harshly treated by McLaren and possibly Lando. I think that he's better than what he's shown us. Don't get me wrong, he's had some really frustrating races like last week with a move on Magnussen. I just think you don't become a bad driver overnight, and I do defend Daniel Ricciardo in the sense that I just think the car doesn't suit him. It's like, we all have our cars. If we jumped into a car that we really didn't suit, it'd show up, and at 200 mile an hour, it shows up a hell of a lot more than us on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I do sympathise with him when the mental side to it all. Like he's been
battered.
That was one of the big drama storylines, this Piastri and the way he's been treated. Like, again, if that was any of us in our jobs, and it's out there in the open to millions of people, getting absolutely hung. And he's a nice guy, and I bet something like that to him will really affect him. And he touched on it. He did say he needs time out. He needs to rest. He needs to rest mentally. And I can sympathise in that way, but it is, I don't know, it just frustrates me. Sky Sports, every Danny Ricciardo, disappointment. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, don't you think the Drive to Survive series has also probably mentally absolutely knocked him, that they made it Lando v Daniel. They don't get on. They're clashing. Like the little comments, snarky comments. Daniel didn't do bad at Renault. You know what I mean? He didn't hit the heights that he did at Red Bull, but the Renault car was shite. And I do think that he's been, like you've just said, Sky Sports bash him. Drive to Survive bashed him. Daniel ain't doing this. It's a lot of pressure mentally on him. He's going to a shell.
Yeah, I agree. Good. That's good. I think that's it exactly.
So leave Daniel alone.
Right. Moving on. We say goodbye to Latifi and Mick Schumacher.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, guys? I'm glad to see the back of them guys. I think Mick will come back.
I'm going to say I'm a little bit for Mick, but he'll be back.
But I think, is Mick going to potentially be a Mercedes third driver? Maybe there's talk of that, rumours. We'll see.
Did you see him get told off by
for donuts
for doing donuts? Like, come on.
I don't know. I don't know. But there's a rumour that was he doing donuts in the wrong area? That's why he got told off.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
It was a YouTube videos I was watching, and they literally just had just one line: was he doing it in the wrong place? Maybe Gunther was just like, "What the fuck are you doing, you stupid motherfucker? Get off now!" you know when you're prattling around at the play area, and your fucking dad just comes and grabs you by your fucking neck and's like, "Get here, we're going." I've told you 5 times already.
You're not playing next year now. That's very naughty, that Mick. He's like, what are you going to fucking do?
I mean, Beth does that with me on the playground now. So
all the time, yeah, because you are the naughty child.
Logan Sargent at Williams.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Let's see.
Interesting to see what he does. Hulkenberg back in Haas. Yeah. And that completes the teams for next year. We'll get into that on another podcast. But yeah, it's looking to be a good season.
Yeah.
Qualifying, should we start that? Or should we take a break?
Let's take a break and we'll do qualifying in the race after. And
beautiful.
Our most favourite thing prediction.
Beautiful. Let's do that then.
Do you want to take a quick advert, Tony? Because Andy really enjoyed your advert last week, so I think you should do another audition now. You've got time.
I mean, he's never got back to me, so I haven't had to sit down and professionally record one.
Mate, you're that professional. You've got 2 minutes 40 now. I reckon you can knock one out of the park, and Andy will go, I need him to do the adverts. Mate,
I don't think so.
No, I'm going to give you a product. I'm going to give you a product. This pen. I want you to sell this pen in an advert. 2 minutes 30. Go.
This ain't no Wolf of Wall Street. And whatever effort I put in, he'll still get that other guy who I've never heard, never seen in my life to come on and
Mate,
say,
you're wasting valuable audition time. It's an interview. It's a job interview. Mate, sell this pen in your American voice. Go.
If Andy wants me, he knows where I am. He has my number. He has my contact details. He knows my manager.
Andy, this is why you don't want him. He's a fucking diva.
I've got it.
Demands.
You know what? We'll just take these 2 minutes just to say thank you, Andy, for everything that you do on this podcast. You're fantastic editing. I love your little messages at the start. Anybody, Cookie Cast, all podcast outlets, YouTube. There's lots of other different things. There's NFL, there's football,
beer, wrestling,
loads
Andy's general
of
life
stuff.
chat. There's
The darkest timeline.
Where he's going to moan about a diva presenter on another podcast of his.
It's good listening. Shit, you better not moan about me on them.
Oh, he does all the time.
Whole podcast just on Tony.
Yeah, all the time, mate. All his rants are about you. How much
you
guys do because of you.
If you put Santa Claus in an F1 car, he'd hit that bastard as well.
And on that bombshell, we'll take a break there. See you in a bit. Welcome back to part 2 of Straight to the Apex with me, your host, T-Dog, and Mark.
Hello.
And James.
Hi.
Nice sniff. Like it. Sold it. Really sold it there.
James is under the weather, as you can tell, with his deep, nasally voice.
Have you tried these cold and flu tablets? That's what you should do.
Again, hit me up. Hit me up if you want to do if you want me to do any voiceovers, any acting. Hit me up. I'll do it.
Got man flu? Man up. There's your advert. That's
Mate,
it.
Hit me up.
Tony, you act every week.
That's what I mean.
You act like an F1 fan.
I know. So hit me up. Hit me up. Straight to the Apex. Tony, management team, Beth, my wife. Also my guardian. Anyway, qualifying.
Yep.
Same shit, different race. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not much there, was they? The only thing I've really got is really with Red Bull. There was a couple times where it looked like there was pretty much at a complete standstill on the track.
Mm-hmm.
And it was almost like they were deliberately trying to slow people down. I mean, Seb even made the comment, didn't he? He said, every time it's these people, he went, it's a 1/10 of a second every lap on this corner.
Yeah, and it was both of them. They were at it on that last corner, slowing everyone down, yeah.
Because they know on that corner, that's where you're really flying for it. So you've got some speed before you hit that line for your fast lap.
Yep. Well, I mean, Q1, usual suspects. Latifi, Albon, Bottas, Gasly, Magnussen. Between P6 Vettel and P18 Bottas, there was 0.3 seconds, 0.3 between that many. That was interesting. Q2, Zhao, I've done it again. Joe,
Guan Yu.
It's only 25 episodes in, Tony. You know.
Full season to do this, mate.
Go on.
Joe Guan Yu.
Go on. Hit me. Go on.
I mean, we'd like to.
Yeah, we would like to.
Keep it going.
Last week.
Keep it going. Are we finished?
Yeah.
Joe, Stroll, Schumacher, Yuki, and Alonso. Q3. Would you know it? Ricciardo 10th, Vettel 9th, Ocon 8th, Norris 7th, Russell 6th, Hamilton 5th, Sainz 4th, Leclerc 3rd, Perez 2nd, Max 1st. Beautiful. And it really got my OCD so good with Red Bull 1, 2, and then second row Ferrari, and then third row Mercedes. Like,
it was that kind of, wasn't it?
It was
beautiful.
It was beautiful. Only their second 1, 2 in the hybrid era for Red Bull.
Yeah.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
Despite how dominant they are. Have been.
Mm.
Anyway, the race.
I've got 3 points for the qualifying. Just quickly.
Unless you've got any more points for qualifying.
I literally made 3 notes for qualifying. 3 place grid penalty for Ricciardo after the crash with Magnussen at Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Sebastian Vettel was absolutely class because I think in Q2 he was like 6th. He was putting some right stonkers of laps in, like say stonking laps. Kept getting held up by the Red Bull. And then my only other note was Hamilton's brake troubles. That apparently all season the brakes temperatures across the front brakes has been splitting. So they're getting different temperatures at different sides. And when that happens, the car obviously pulls to a side that's colder. And that's been happening all year due to the design of the car. And also the bouncing was back.
Oh, God.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that in a long time, have we? The old pop.
Yeah,
Well,
Hamilton said he's back with a vengeance this weekend.
I've got it in my notes. I think when I was going to mention it in the race, but it's quite a good point to mention it now. I think Mercedes fans, got a bit of a reality check this race. I think we all got a bit carried away. And I think...
Not all of us, sunshine.
Okay, I think this car, it's good to see the back of it. Lewis is happy to see the back of it as well. I think it's a bit of a write-off for a season for Mercedes.
Yep.
What do you guys think? Mark, if you would like to go first.
No, James can go first.
Oh, James, you go first.
I've got to agree. I mean, it's apart from its reliability, it has been so inconsistent this season. It's been a joke. As in, there'll be races where you're watching it and you're like, you know what, it's never going to get anywhere. And then the next week, it does really well, and you think, wow, they've sussed it, they've got it. They've only got to make another little tweak, and then it turns to shit again the week after.
And then they fix that, and then it's something else, and then they fix that, and then it goes back to something else again.
Last week they had a really good race. They finished in a really good place. You know, Mercedes 1-2 and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And FP1 this week, it was like Lewis is the fastest on the track. So I was like, wow, it could really be something here. Maybe Lewis could get his win. And then, you know, P2 and P3 happens, and it's like, yeah. So yeah. I think it's a kind of glad to see the back of it. I would imagine about halfway through the season, Mercedes was like, right, you know what? Let's just use the rest of this season just for trial and error, and prepare for next year.
Yeah, I think they got the upgrades, didn't they? And we got a bit better. But then you could argue with Ferrari coming off the boil, were they kind of saving themselves for this race?
Yeah,
like, were
this
they?
Week they were good.
Which were you alluded to? Maybe last podcast, maybe the podcast before that. Yeah, it was sad. It was a sad day for a Mercedes fan. Russell, suddenly the best thing since garlic bread. Where was he today? Woody was back in the fucking barn. Yeah. Anyway, anything else to say on qualifying before we move on?
Don't think so, no.
Mark, do you want to chip in Mercedes season and this race?
I hope that they actually work out that the zero side pods idea just hasn't worked, because it's made the car possibly too narrow and too susceptible to wind. It's not fast enough in a straight line. It's not, I mean, like I say, it's reliable apart from this weekend, but I think that was due to going over the sausage curb and launching. It's good on the tyres because it's not fast. They need to literally start again. And unfortunately, I think the reality is the way Formula One is, it's not going to be a massive load better next year.
No, it won't be till the new regs come out.
I think Red Bull's going to dominate next year again, unless
Probably.
Mercedes copy the Red Bull and they've come up with a completely decent concept. Toto keeps saying that they've understood the car now, they know where they went wrong. Let's see what they can do. I hope they come back, but let's see what they can do. That's all I've got in my mind.
Well,
Ferrari will still fuck it up with Plan Z, so don't matter what they design next year.
Really don't want to listen to that, but I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt. Move on to the race. Hamilton passes Sainz at the start, and Norris somehow passed Russell. However, Sainz then sent it up the inside. What's your thoughts on that? Whose fault is that? Hamilton had to then come off the track. It was exactly the same as last year, very similar to last year. He went over the sausage curb, did a bit of a wheelie, came back on track, then had to give it back. What's your thoughts on that? Who would like to go first?
What do you think? You go first, yeah.
You might be surprised at what I'm going to say here. I think
it was George Russell's fault.
It was George Russell's fault. It's his fault every fucking time. And if it's not his, it's fucking Lando Norris. I think that it was racing. I think that is racing. I don't really think. I mean, at the time, I went ballistic at Sainz. And then I kind of went back on myself and watched it again. I was like, well, Sainz fully sent it there. Like, quality. If you're going to do something like that, do it. Like, that's racing. Hamilton had nowhere to go. He had to go off the track. But to conclude, I think that's racing. It's purest passing, making big moves, hard. Because Sainz had him. I think Hamilton just bailed out. And unfortunately, when you bail out, there's a big fat sausage curb there, which is literally, don't know why it's there. It's a bit like wacky races. It's just intended just to fuck you up. And what happened. What do you guys think?
I think race incident. Sainz had the line. Obviously, the stewards didn't think anything of it. It was like no further action on Sainz forcing him off, no further action on Hamilton coming off the track to gain advantage and all that kind of stuff. Only other thing I've got on that is, and I only remembered it when it happened, was the need to get rid of sausage curbs, I think.
That was my next point. What is the fucking point in them? What is the fucking point? Is it for the drains?
I can't remember if it was an F2 or an F3 driver, he'd come off the track, hit the sausage curb.
Yeah, I think I've seen this.
In the air and just went over another driver.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that.
It's to discourage people cutting the corner, but they are dangerous.
Yeah.
They are very dangerous. Yeah.
But this is F1, for fuck's sake.
I know.
Speed's doing that.
My opinion is, with a racing incident, don't think Hamilton did himself any favours clearing off into the distance like he did. I think if he'd have let Sainz catch back up, they'd have just let it all go. But the fact that because he cut the corner, he had this massive gap to Sainz, I think he did himself no favours, and that's why they made him give the place back.
That's a good way of looking at it. I didn't think of that.
I honestly think if he'd have slowed right down and let Sainz get almost level or just behind him, they may have said, look, Sainz, you've cut the corner. Hamilton had to go off, but because he'd gained like a second and a half or 1.8 seconds or whatever it was, I think he did himself.
Yeah. And I agree with that, actually. I agree with that. Go on, Jim.
Think about it now. Again, it's a replication of what happened last year.
Yep.
Hamilton went off the track there. He gained an advantage on Verstappen because then Red Bull and Horner started kicking off down the radio, and they turned around and went, "We're not doing anything about it," because although he gained advantage, he then slowed down enough to close the gap before again.
Mm.
So maybe because of that absolute shit show that we had last year with Mikey, he did all that and then thought, I don't need to slow down. I can just go because I was fine last year.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I totally agree with you two. The sausage cabs are the absolute hits. Like they're dangerous. They don't deserve no place in Formula One for them. Get rid of them and just penalise drivers for going off the track.
Yes, I agree. And we've been over that in a previous episode. So if you haven't listened to the other episodes, Cookie Cast, all social media platforms, all YouTube outlets, all podcast outlets, get on it. I just think the cars are a bit too delicate. There's so much technology packed into them and so much engineering, architecture. I just think them such cabs are just horrible.
Yeah.
And I think, and Mark touched on it earlier, I think that's what led to Hamilton's problems.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it broke the car.
Well, after lap 10, he started saying he was having engine issues then.
Yeah.
He did make the comment about 10 laps in, my engine's going again.
Yeah, losing power.
I think it was like lap 56 or something. That was it. He said, my shifts have gone. And he was stuck in 7th gear. And that was it. He was done.
First mechanical failure of 2022 for Mercedes.
Yeah.
His winless season streak is over. His winning season streak is over, sorry.
Damn you, George.
Fucking George Russell there. Anyway. Ocon versus Vettel, lap 8. Interesting. The old master showing us the last dance, basically, how it's done. Russell then pits, and it was a crap pit, and then he was released unsafely into the path of Lando, and honest to God, I pissed myself laughing at this. He came on the radio and he went,
I knew you was going to put it written down.
In his typical voice, like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry, Lando. Sorry."
It was his attitude of, "Oh, it's all right." Like he couldn't get penalised. It was like, "You're gonna get penalised, mate."
Russell's gone, like, he's turned the dial a little bit now of like F1 maturity. Like now he's won a race, the emotion is turned up like a little notch. Like because now, like, do you see him on the radio at the end of the race? Like, "Oh, I think we need to change tyres here." It's like shut the fuck up.
5-second penalty. Like, in that case, we need to go long. If we've got a penalty, we need to go long before we change tyres.
I just can't take him serious.
Fucking one win here in the field now. Jesus.
He's a don now. He's won a race. That's it. Oh,
yeah.
The chosen one. He is the chosen one. Fucking hell. Anyway, lap 28, Alonso retires. He also retires from Alpine as well. And he'll never see them again. He'll never have Ocon as a teammate again. And he takes his ass into an Aston Martin.
Nice.
Oh, how long have you had that for?
Oh, yeah.
Straight off the dome.
Jesus.
Water leak, supposedly. Well, we've seen that too many times this season. It'll be interesting next season. Perez pits, lap 34. Mick and Latifi spin, lap 39.
That was cool, that.
It was beautifully
like watching Strictly
choreographed.
Come Dancing on.
I was going to say synchronized swimming, something like that. You just needed like music from Swan Lake to be playing, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised Latifi got going again.
Go.
But yeah. Anyway, Perez then starts storming through the field, and then he went wide because it's Perez, and Hamilton passed him. And then Perez passed him back, and then he started trying to catch up to Leclerc. But Ferrari got away with a... And I, for once, not many times this season, Ferrari got it right.
Got the pit stop strategy right. Bang on, yeah. Well played, Ferrari.
Ferrari got it right, and they got away, and credit Leclerc. He didn't fuck it up himself.
Nope.
Yeah, and then straight after that, Hamilton. My heart just sank and slowly crushed. A bit like Thanos. When he just disappears into like fucking dust.
So you mean like you just down?
Sorry, what was that? What did you say?
He sat down and then just.
Yeah.
He'd have got caught anyway. He'd said to the team, didn't he? Don't one stop. Don't one stop me. And guess what they did?
20 laps later, it's one stop.
Yeah.
I mean,
at least I was honest with him though. When he's going, you should have stopped me. And they went, if we'd have done that, you'd have been coming out P6, and you might have been fighting for 5, which meant you'll be fighting against Russell.
Yeah, exactly. Again, I think the team. I think the team did a good job doing what they should do, seeing all the options and making the right decision. Max smashed it, 15th victory, world champion, perfect way to end the season. Any other thoughts on that? Led from the front. In our opinion, we've already touched on it. Didn't give a fuck about Perez, even though he did pitiful comments about hope he's doing all right and tire whatever's. Yeah, he just ran into the distance, did what he did. Any comments on that? No, smashed already, haven't we? Max first, Leclerc second, Perez third. Brazil didn't matter in the end because he was 3 points behind anyway, and he would have gained 2 in Brazil. But his head and his team are fucked, and it'll be interesting next season. Sainz 4th, Russell 5th, Lando Norris, the best of the rest, and he got the fastest lap as well. Ocon 7th, Stroll 8th, bad strategy, that cost Vettel, unfortunately. Ricciardo 9th, Vettel 10th. He didn't get 9th, cost the constructors a position. They lost 12 million. That stung a bit. Yuki 11th, Joe 12th, Albon 13th, Gasly 14th, Bottas 15th, Schumacher 16th, Magnussen 17th, and Latifi retired on the final lap with an electrical issue.
Oh, the goat didn't even finish.
He was fucking miles off. He was, honest to God, I remember watching the race thinking, where is he? Oh, he's last. He's at least 15 seconds behind the next person. And then it was like, oh, look again. He's 1 lap behind. Like,
he's I've got some big breaking news about Latifi. I know where he's going to next.
No.
Did he deliver your McDonald's earlier on from Uber Eats?
No, he's coming to England, and he's coming to see Tony Rawson.
Tony Rawson.
Go-karting tips.
I'll fucking, honestly, Latifi, if you're listening to this podcast or somebody that knows Latifi, get yourself down to Team Sport and call me. Team Sport, call me, call my manager. You know who that is. My wife, Beth, my guardian. We'll get the team down. We'll get it all sorted, all right? Second driver, Mark, he'll be there. James from the rear. James from the rear, he'll be there. And don't read into that too much.
Fucking red, clear that, mate. Jesus.
Sorry, James. That's just how it is. You know what I
Hey.
mean? You can't.
Yeah.
You're the third driver, unfortunately, on straight to the apex. But I mean, you're the sexiest, aren't you? You look the best out of the whole podcast, so that fits.
Even with
You're the poster boy,
mate. Even
you're
with Manflu.
You're the poster boy. You're the poster boy. I am the racing athletic machine, and Mark's second best.
Fucking hell, mate.
Straight facts.
You beat me once, you prick. I mean,
Twice. There was 2 races. Oh, sorry, 2.
but again,
fastest laps.
I will say that I nearly did. Was it something like 12 laps more than you?
Mark,
something.
right,
It was something
Mark,
ridiculous.
you did the most laps out of everybody, but that's unfortunately you don't win. You don't win the competition doing that. You've got to be the fastest. So you could have gone around that track another 10 times. It would not have mattered because.
Oh, do you know what? Next time we go karting, and we are going karting before we restart the season in March, I am going to fucking wipe the floor with you, and I will not shut up. Literally, it's on because I am sick of this shit, and the record needs putting straight. I need to go back to the top because that smug little bastard in orange underneath me on my screen, I'm sick of him. I've had enough of him. I'm going to put him back in his place, listeners and viewers, because he's doing my fucking treating. Look at it.
Well, we'll one day we might see that. I doubt it.
We will.
We'll
You know
James
what?
will then beat you, and then you'll be
You know
at the bottom.
As the third driver and being royally shat on by him just then, I will take him out.
Teammate. That I want James as my teammate, Red Bull teammate right there. Yeah.
I will go full on fucking Nicholas Latifi on him.
Mate, you can be my wingman anytime.
Well, we'll have to see. We'll have to see, won't we? We'll have to see. We'll have to pick a karting place, go and
Craven
and
Park.
see.
It's done.
Craven Park.
Let's get it, but let's do it. January. Let's do it.
I think indoors. It's going to be cold.
No, outdoors because the real drivers can drive in pouring rain or snow or an ice. Let's see how good you are then, boy. Yeah.
Okay.
Watch it, February. There you go.
Okay. And enough of that. Enough of flexing the muscles. Did anybody spot the hidden messages?
Yeah.
At the end of the race.
Oh, I thought it was clowns again.
No, that clowns have been and gone. We can't go there again. Let's not go there again.
Hidden messages.
Yeah, on the steering wheels. Ricardo got one, and it was him and the team on the steering wheel. And Seb got one at the end. They got told to put in a certain code on their steering wheel, and it popped up with a picture.
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
This? No. It was Seb holding the trophy.
Right. That's cool. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I thought that was cool. That was so cool. Anyway, and that's about it. Anything else from the race? Can anybody give us anything?
No, I think you covered everything, mate.
Will Bonotto stay with Ferrari?
Don't
know. Might talk about that next time.
Yeah.
So Max has won the championship. Leclerc second, Perez third, Russell fourth, Sainz fifth, Hamilton sixth, Norris seventh, Ocon eighth, Alonso ninth, Bottas 10th, Ricciardo 11th, Vettel, Magnussen, Gasly, Stroll, Schumacher, Tsunoda, Joe Albon, Latifi, De Vries, and Hulkenberg. Russell up 15 places from last year, new season, new car. No, up from 15, not up 15, up from 15. He got fourth this season. Leclerc up from 7th to 2nd. Interesting. Ricciardo's dropped to 8th from 11th. Interesting. Constructors, Red Bull win. Ferrari second, Merc third, Alpine fourth, McLaren fifth, down one from last year, Alpine up. Alfa sixth, up from ninth last year, best result since 2012. Aston Martin, Haas, AlphaTauri and Williams. Alfa down in ninth. Bit disappointing. Anyway, anything else to add on the race or the weekend?
No.
It has to be what the thing that everybody's been waiting for. Predictions. Take it away, James.
Oh, so I'm not going to give any scores yet. I'm going to see if it's like a big reveal. So last week, I was a gimp and went Hamilton to win because I had, high hopes. Russell in second and Perez in third because, again, I had high hopes and thought Max would be nice. Tony, you had Hamilton, Max and Perez. Again, probably thinking Max will do the right thing. Marky Poos had Max for the win, Leclerc in second, and Perez in third because he had proper expectations and thought Verstappen will just be a dick. So that gave Mark full house, which is 7 points. Me 1 point because I had Perez. And Tony with 1 point because you also had Perez. Scores back.
Very nervous, yeah.
I finished with 54 points.
Does that you won?
You won.
Round of applause. Well done.
Okay.
Well done.
I expect my little trophy in the post.
No problem.
How does it feel?
When you're not full of gems.
How does it feel? How does it feel to win? Give us
good.
Good.
I know what to drink out of a shoe.
Yeah. Eventful season. Anyone to thank?
Those two losers for beating us.
You've got a chance here, James.
Yeah, no one to thank, really. I mean, I'm going to sound really big-headed here, but obviously, I made the guess. Granted, there was a couple of times I did some fucking bold moves and stuff like that, but it's when I had comfy leads. I can't even say I want to thank Beth because let's face it, quite a lot of her predictions did some damage as well, close that gap a little bit. I'd like to thank my mum, my dad, my dog Walker, my little goldfish. No, I don't know. No one to thank. I did it all me. Yay, me. I'm that fucking good. Anyway.
Doghouse.
Second place. There is literally 1 point in it.
Oh, God.
1 point in it. Between taking the shoe off your foot and having to put a shoe in your mouth.
I feel sick.
I do.
I feel sick.
I'm going to do this like Dermot.
No, for fuck's sake. This worst fucking person to do this.
With 49 points. Coming second. We'll tell you after these short messages.
No. Come on.
Hungry for more? Cookie Cast.
Very good.
With 49 points. The guy is cute. He's a decent guy. He's got a good heart. He comes to the podcast every week. 10 minutes late. It's Tony.
He's on 49.
Tony's on 49, leaving Mark with 48.
I believe I'm on 49.
No.
Really?
I was on 41 last week.
Yep.
And I got 3, 2, 1 plus the bonus point.
Yeah.
41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48. Oh, I've worked out one.
I don't want to have to teach you maths on a national podcast for everyone in the UK and across the globe to actually hear.
Oh,
But
crap.
yeah, 7 plus 41.
It's 48.
I don't know if he's joking or not. I'm really not sure.
Size 48 shoe.
Oh, crap.
I'm worried because your job is actually based on numbers, and
I actually
thought.
Mark's just lost accountancy.
Are you joking, Matt? I'm being serious. Are you joking?
Yeah, I was joking because I was trying to grab my way.
Panicking then. I'm sat there, I'm like, oh, fuck, have I missed one off? And I'm like, I'm going to have to go through my entire notebook, go through every single week's predictions and scores. But then as soon as you went, I had 41 last week, I was like, oh, thank God for that. He's just being an idiot.
I can't believe I still lost and I got it all right.
Well, yeah.
What happened, Mark? Mark, what happened? Please tell me what happened.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'd like to thank my loving wife for basically guessing and predicting nearly every single week.
Well, then technically, Beth finished second, I finished third, and you finished last.
I mean, you could stake a claim that she may be included next season, and I'm against her as well as everybody else. And
that's
that would
a good
be,
idea. I like that.
That would be the ultimate Joel.
I was just thinking next year we also include wife's predictions, and whichever's wife does the best out of their predictions gives one of us the bonus point. I don't know.
Yeah,
we need to figure something out.
There's a lot you could do there. If you lose to your wife, then
well, let's face it. I mean, with my wife, I probably would.
So when am I doing the shoe? Are we all getting together?
Of course we are.
Is it James's shoe with a beer in? I've got to drink.
I mean, James was one, so he can.
Yeah.
And he's the marketing guy. So he's the face of the podcast.
So how about we do it in whoever comes first picks the shoe, and whoever second picks the drink. Oh, maybe not, because it'll be Tony and he'll end up fucking picking you like a bloody.
No.
It's a beer in a shoe. It's a beer in a shoe. We can't. I'm not drinking champagne or rum or. It's a beer in a shoe. I think we said that.
I was just thinking aftershock.
No, God no.
Wellington, full of Jägermeister.
I was thinking brine from the perfect can of tuna.
No.
Oh, fuck me. Let's go with beer in a shoe.
Tabasco of the finest.
We'll talk about that next episode of and we'll put a video on our socials.
Well, again, thank you to everybody listening. Thank you for a great season. We're going to do a Christmas special, a season review. Who's underperformed, overperformed, more predictions. But yeah, what a season. What a season. Anything to add, guys?
No, like I say, we're going to do some prediction, some season reviews in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for them dropping in your podcast boxes.
Absolutely. Thank you, CookieCast. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, F1. We'll see you in 103 or 105 days in Bahrain. But we'll see you before then.
Can I just point one quick thing?
Yep.
Thanks to you two guys for helping me with this podcast. I think I've enjoyed myself. I hope you two guys have. It's been ace this season. Loved it.
Thank you.
So glad we decided to do it. Thank you to you two beautiful people.
Thank you, Mark.
Last note goes to you, Tony.
See you guys soon. Merry Christmas. See you on the other side. Bye.
See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
So there you go. What do you think of that? Another one done. another one gone. Stick around for more Formula One news, race reviews, and other Formula One goodies coming down the pipe. Before you go, please do consider like, share, subscribe and comment. Drop reviews. Check out our website, thecookiecast.com. Find our social media stuff and our email button so you can get in touch with us. Tell these guys how much you love their podcast. That's it for this one. Until next time, I'm going to say bye and I'll see you then.
Thanks for listening. If you like this episode of CookieCast, please like, share and subscribe.